Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Emmett Emery Sr. You Better Stand Your Watch, Leader and Leadership Podcast. Today, I have two guests that's very dear to my heart. And as a father, if you can get the opportunity to interview the two individuals I'm interviewing today, it has you somewhat emotional. Today's interview will be done with my oldest biological daughter, Jana, and she's be communicating from Croatia via Zoom. And my other guest is my youngest daughter, Taylor, who's inside the studio. So I got this very special honor in the month of March during Women's History Month to have these two young ladies on my podcast. I'm gonna have them introduce themselves to you. Jana, introduce yourself to my audience.
Hi, so I'm Jana, his oldest daughter. I'm based in Croatia, but currently in Spain, actually. It's part of my entrepreneurial journey. I like to do more of the digital nomad aspect. So I travel a lot as I'm doing my entrepreneurship. I'm a creative strategist, so I help small businesses and startups readjust their positioning to align with their audience and be able to better target their audience through creative strategies. So mostly through like social media marketing and through voiceover and different digital assets, things like this. I've been in the entrepreneur journey in the field for the past 10 years. Internationally, not so much in the US, but internationally. And it's been an adventure. This is now my second business that I own. And before I owned an ESL program that was based in Prague, so an international program too, that worked with Montessori schools. So that's my journey. Thanks, Dad.
Jana is called, because it's Zoom, we have a little bit of difficulty. Hopefully we can keep her throughout the entire podcast. Taylor, introduce yourself to my audience.
What's up, everybody? My name is Taylor Emery. I am his youngest daughter, the best sibling, the best daughter, the best child.
Did you hear that,
Janae? Nah, I love Janae. She's awesome. Anyway, I am a former professional basketball player. I played in both the WNBA with the Minnesota Lynx, and I played overseas in both Poland and Israel. I retired in 2021, and I used that money to start a clothing brand called Merakite. I make gender-neutral clothes, mid-thigh length cargo shorts with 6 functional pockets with an adjusted size chart to fit the butt-to-waist ratio. Then I have a patent pending for modified boxer briefs for pad application. In that same breath, fall of 2021, I started veterinary medical school, and I am a current full-time veterinary student, and I graduate next year. So soon, I'll be Dr. Taylor Emery. Thanks for having me, Pops.
See, what Taylor didn't say is, this is my soon-to-be daughter-in-law.
Oh, yeah. My fiance, Ellie.
Oh, now she gonna tell you.
You said a quick bio.
Ellie, say something to my audience.
Hey, everyone. My name's Ellie Hidalgo. Thanks for having me.
She wasn't expecting that. She wasn't ready for it either.
Oh, man.
All right, here we go. I'm going to give you guys a little historical research data. Not historical, but research data and historical data as we go throughout this podcast. I'm going to ask questions, we're going to elaborate, we're going to communicate, and then I'm going to interject a little bit of research into that. According to the National Women's Business Council 2023 annual report, 14 million women-owned businesses make up 39.1% of all U.S. businesses, a 13.6% increase from 2019 to 2023. In case you didn't know orders, so I didn't say in the beginning, this podcast is entailed women in small businesses. And my two baby girls both have their own small businesses. Black African-American women-owned businesses represented 14.8% of all women-owned and 52.1% of all black-owned businesses. Hispanic Latin women-owned businesses represent 14.3% of all women-owned and 42.3% of all Hispanic Latino-owned businesses. Women-owned business add $1.8 trillion to American gross domestic product every year. Statista Research Department statistics displays the woman business-owned share in Europe in 2019. Listen to this, sweetheart. By country, and in 2019, the largest percentage of European women business owners will be found in Russia. At nearly 1/3 of the total business owner, and in Ireland, on the other hand, only 22.9% of the business owners were females. The highest score worldwide was visible in Uganda at 38.2%. I might take that trip over to Ghana and see what they're selling over there. According to U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, Bloomberg, Pew Research Center, McKinsey Global Institute, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and U.S. Census Bureau. I'll be giving you data from those areas as we go throughout this podcast. The general statistics of women in the workforce is just 47% of women in the United States are women. Just 4% of workers in the United States are women. 77.5% of women ages 25 to 54 are employed or actively seeking work, a new record since the federal government began tracking labor participation in 1940s. As of June 2023, the participation rate in the workforce for women between the ages of 25 and 54 set a record high for 3 months in a row. United States earned 82% for every dollar a man earned as of 2022 data. That means a woman in the United States earned about 82 cents for every dollar a man earned. Women make up 29% of the manufacturing workforce, an all-time high. Now, Canada, China, and the United Kingdom and United States have the highest percentage of women participating in the workforce. Data on women founders, which you two are founders, managers, and CEOs, women account for 50% of all management-related U.S. occupations in 2021. 8.8% of the company on Fortune 500 2022 list have women CEOs. Women represent 8.6% of all venture capitals. Worldwide, over 20% of board member seats are held by women, according to 2019 data. For every 100 men promoted from entry level to manager in 2023, 87 women was promoted. From 1982 to 2020, women in managerial occupation has risen from 26% to 40%. Women are most likely to be managers in the HR, social service, education, and food service industry. Most likely, but they're spanning out among others. The desire to be independent is the main reason people starting the business research from Cox Business have found that 60% of small business owners started business to be their own boss. Janae, why did you start your business?
The first one or second one?
Either the first one.
Okay, so the first one was because I saw a need for what I was doing. I had taken a teaching strategy approach from the US from my experiences there in education and implemented that in Europe, which was not widespread there yet. So it was teaching through creative focuses. So a lot of different DIY workshops and more hands-on learning and engagement, which was not a common approach in Europe at the time. And I implemented this into Montessori schools. So I did it to be able to give students more opportunities and other ways to be able to acquire confidence in the English language, to be able to achieve their dreams further down the road.
So did you base it upon the level that the United States was on versus the level of the language that was overseas? How did you base your gauge it on?
I based it on the teaching strategies, not so much on the educational standards, but more of the approach of how the delivery was given.
So did you bring a unique style of delivery versus what was already there?
Yes, I did. So basically the style that you use in the US that you would see in primary schools, well, prior to the last probably 5 years, this is the strategy that I've implemented into Europe. So I was doing this where you have more hands-on engagement, more hands-on learning, more practical learning, not just reading or writing from a book and trying to memorize this.
So what encouraged you to go from the language educational part into the business entrepreneurship part?
And honestly, that stems from the US culture as well, too. So the US culture is one that is very big on entrepreneurship. A lot of the rest of the world, unfortunately, is not, especially Europe. Only now it is more widely acceptable where they don't view entrepreneurs as criminals. So in the US, this is something that I was always visible, that I had always seen, that was constantly surrounded around us, even as kids. Like, you had your own journey as well too. So this is something we could all, I guess, relate to in a way. And also in the US, a lot of people become entrepreneurs for the hustle, for the opportunity to be able to make a living. And I started my journey because of that. And my undergrad, I needed to survive. So I looked into entrepreneurship for this, and then liked entrepreneurship and continued it internationally.
So your street survival skills is what propelled you to where you are now over in Europe?
Correct. For me, my My journey started with street skills, definitely, and hands-on experience, what I gathered from my interactions, not so much from academic, not the first business.
Now, I want my audience to know, yes, I'm from Chicago, but I did not teach her no hustling skills. I just want to clear that up right now.
Taught myself.
Taylor, what about you?
Why did I start my business?
Yes.
Well, I started my business because there was a need for what I was making. Just talking personally, like I am a masculine presenting woman. Like I like to wear more masculine clothing. But I couldn't find what I wanted to wear. In the men's section, you know, their clothing doesn't really account for the butt to waist ratio. Nothing really fits correctly. In the women's section, I didn't like that everything was so tight or so short. So I kind of made something in between that. It's an in-between length. It's still utility wear. It's still pretty versatile. And it fits the butt to waist ratio. So a lot of people like the adjusted size chart. And then on top of that, like the boxer briefs are modified to be able to put a pad in because boxers are basically made for men. So I decided to change that and make something that anyone who menstruates will feel comfortable in their own skin because that's something that, you know, I like wearing boxer briefs, and I thought that was a really cool addition to that.
So what about using your creativity, your creative mind, to create pants or shorts to support the man my age? You know, some got the big belly and the flat booties.
I don't make nothing for that. I'm sorry.
Oh, crap.
It's not a good market.
That question was for Taylor. Taylor, freedom and passion, not money, is the main motivation starting a business. How much did money earnings pay in your decision to start?
You know, I've always kind of been, you know, a hustler since I was younger. You know, ever since I could remember, like I was going to shovel driveways with snow to make some extra money. I was selling sneakers. I was selling little things that I could find here and there. So trying to make money was pretty important to me because I never really had the opportunity to be able to like easily have access to that, especially when I was younger and in college, because when you're an athlete, they didn't have the NIL deals when I was playing. So I didn't get to sign anything and make some money while I was playing. Even a dinner would get me disqualified. So I was kind of like that broke college kid, not like what it's like right now. But making what I did now, you know, the money's great. It's you know, it's phenomenal. It helps me be able to live a good lifestyle, being a full-time veterinary student. But you know, what really feeds my soul is when people say like, oh, you made me feel more comfortable in my skin. You've helped me be able to look at myself differently, and you've been able to positively impact my life, and stuff like that is what fulfills my soul more. The money's gonna come when you're doing the right thing. The money's gonna come when you're having fun. The money's gonna come when everything makes sense that you're doing. And I've just been so grateful that I've been able to go down this road and be able to make money while I'm doing it, but also be able to make people happy in the same sentence.
Now, in college, you also did something that's very unique, and I think it's played a part in your creativity. You wrote poetry.
Yeah.
And you also used to perform before an audience.
Yeah.
In poetry. How much of that, that creativity side plays into the freedom and passion that you have for what you're doing now?
I mean, being creative, you know, is something that you kind of develop when you're younger, and something that kind of curates as you're getting older. I have a bachelor's in creative writing, so I still like to write now. I'm working on a book right now as well. And, you know, being into poetry, it's been, you know, it's fun. It's fun to make. It's fun to activate that right side of my brain, and that's kind of what creating clothes is. Just the fact that I have a patent pending means I was innovative enough to make something, and that is your right brain working its magic. Also being in vet school, that's your left side brain. So it's a good moment to have a break. And that's kind of what I see Marakite as. It's like an outlet for me because, you know, this vet med stuff, you know, it gets stressful and it's a lot, and it's very emotionally taxing, and just being able to have that outlet is a lot.
So I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to hold you to that last part.
All right.
Janae, before you answer that question about your freedom and passion, not money, what actually motivates you in starting your business and keep you going, I just want the audience to know, you heard both of my daughters say hustle. I did not show them how to hustle. Yes, we from the Chicago area. I think it's just something you pick up in the street. Unless the oldest one right there showed that youngest one what to do. So I'll find out later when we get off the air, though.
Oh, yeah, we was in that basement really figuring it out, huh?
Janae, answer that question, please.
So I think this was a bit of trial error for me. It took me to this business to realize that money was not the main objective of the business, essentially. Like, you have to have your passion, and yes, but the passion should generate income, but temporarily your business may become a hobby while you have a different business to support that one or a different job to support that one. So it took me to my second business to realize that the money will come, of course, with calculated business decisions, calculated investments. But the first one, I do remember being deeply passionate about it and trying to use that as a way to live at the same time. But I had a very different background when it came to the business startup than, say, my sister did. And I had to do more of like GoFundMe and different small businesses who were investing in me a little bit. Okay. But it was very different element in that sense, but I couldn't use that as my main revenue until probably 2 years down the road.
Now, whenever you start a business, emotionally, you have lows. And then you have highs. Sometimes in entrepreneur world, they call it peaks and valleys. So how do you manage your lows? And when it came to your highs and went down low, how did you manage yourself to sustain your frame of mind to keep the business going?
Well, I think outside of even business, I have the ability to just ground myself. That's working on myself personally and incorporating that into my business. So having that skill set to be able to use that strategy in my business really helped a lot. And I think a big part of entrepreneur journey is to understand that, yes, there are the highs and the lows, but when it is high, save your money, do what you need to do so that when the lows come, it doesn't feel imbalanced. You just ride it out. So it's you just got to take the lows and learn from them and understand it's an experience and that it doesn't mean you're a bad entrepreneur. It just means that this is probably a pivot for the time being. And you just consider that how it is and use it going forth and navigate appropriately.
How you manage the stress in between that gap, highs and low?
I am very strict about my schedule. So I learned that if I want to maintain my relationships and the relationship with myself, I need to be very strict about my schedule. So for me personally, I don't work past 6 p.m. This is kind of an exception. I don't work past 6 p.m. and I only work Monday through Thursday. So even on the weekend, if people try to call me about anything, it's not getting adjusted or addressed until Monday morning. So I'm very strict about my schedule. I take the time that I need for myself and for my relationships as well, too.
Good. Taylor, the same question.
Man, as far as the lows, I mean, I remember when I started in 2021, my business was doing well, like decent. It was doing decent for especially being a startup the first year. It was doing really good. But I had never seen that kind of money before. Man, I was really excited and I was young. I mean, what was it, like 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my frontal cortex wasn't fully developed yet, and you could tell because when I saw that money, man, I was in Texas, I was in Cali, I was up north, I went to Chicago, I went to a lot of places that I probably shouldn't have, and I was racking up all them bills. Man, I didn't see no money out of that, honestly, no money. And then I was like, you know what, like I think this is gonna go really well, so then I actually signed a lease for a 3-bedroom townhome. It's great to believe in yourself, and that's all fine and dandy, but I got to a point where like, it was like September, October, November, right? I'm sitting here like I am failing a class. First of all, I was failing a class in veterinary medical because I had to study in a minute. So for the first time having to study, I actually failed my first class in veterinary school. So I was on track to fail out if I didn't get my can I curse on here?
No.
If I didn't get my stuff together.
There we go.
If I didn't get my stuff together, it was I was on track to fail out. And then Merakite, for some reason, like I couldn't figure out social media. It was doing really well at first, and then I couldn't figure out how to really market myself and market my stuff on social media. So that started plummeting. I didn't really make any money going into that part, and I started actually having to ask like my mom or my dad for some kind of money to actually sustain myself because I'm like I might get evicted and I might not pass my class. I might get kicked out of school. So, just being able to manage that, a lot of it came from my mentality with basketball because I got to a point where I had a mind shift where if I had a bad game, I was able to move on from it and know that there's a next game. And that was a lot of my stuff with that mental toughness, just being able to be like, okay, well, there's a low right now, but I know there's a high right around the corner and I feel it and I'm going to trust in it and I'm going to figure out how to get myself out of this. And I was able to do that. And like Janae Janae said, I'm big on that strict schedule as well. And I plan really strategically throughout my day. Like I have everything planned out. And then once I get to a certain time, it's done. Phone on Do Not Disturb. Don't hit me up because the Do Not Disturb, you know how some people got that 2 calls? I don't. You can't hit me up. It's not coming through again. And that's something that I've been able to learn and be able to implement my own boundaries, just like Janae said.
So discipline is the key to success of each one of your business.
It's a key to success, yeah.
A key, yeah. And time management is another one I think we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. Women small business owners. Women own almost 10 million businesses in the U.S. Women-owned businesses account for $1.4 trillion in receipts. 40% of American women entrepreneurs experience gender bias when trying to raise a capital. Did you experience that, Taylor?
Gender bias?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in the process right now dealing with somebody who actually stole my idea for the patent pending boxer briefs, and I'm like, when these get approved, like, it's a white straight male, and I am a black woman who identifies in the LGBT community. So I'm like every minority possible, and then somebody who is not a minority at all stole my idea, and he's getting a lot of publicity right now, and I'm like, so that's a lot that's going on with the whole gender bias thing in my realm right now.
Well, stick with it and hope you get reimbursed for everything that he's earned, because I don't know how the patent work. I think yours is in process.
Yeah, I got a lawyer. It'll be taken care of.
Good. Janae, what you think?
So the gender bias, absolutely. I mean, I worked in higher education. The education in general has quite the hierarchy. And when you look young, number one, you're going to be discriminated against. Being a female, discriminated against. Educated female, discriminated against. A strong, powerful female, discriminated against. Then add your race in there, discriminated against. So yeah, I've had my journey with it. It was quite challenging. I would say now with what I'm doing, not so much. Dealing with the gender, yes. Everything else, not so much. It's we live in a very male-dominant world, especially in the business realm. And it is unfortunate that a lot of men feel that they make the most amazing leaders, because many of them, unfortunately, do not, although I wish they could.
No offense.
Not really like you, Dad.
I'm like, whoa. So
But-
how do you deal with that and still be successful?
You have to persevere. I mean, there's no giving up. Even if you don't want to deal with it, you got to deal with it, unless you just want to give up and just sit in the background, which I don't want to do. And I think being humbled as well, too, it keeps you being calm and patient in situations like this. I would say my background of education also gave me a lot of patience. So I more or less can just look at them like, I feel bad for you. You're ignorant, and just carry on and find a different way around what I need to do to accomplish my goals.
Now, the both of you have remote business or you have brick and mortar?
I'm fully remote.
What about you, Taylor?
I own an online business, but I have physical inventory at my house. I got an inventory room.
So inventory within arm reaches of you. You don't have a third party or a warehouse or something of that nature?
No.
Okay. Now, Hawaii, 24.75%, Virginia, 23.7%, and Colorado, 22.2% have the most women-owned businesses. And you reside in what state?
Virginia. For now, though. I'll be in Florida next year.
So are you part of that statistic?
I guess. When did you take these?
Oh, I'm sorry. The statistic was 2021. You still should be part of it.
Yeah, for like a month or two.
Because your address is Virginia, correct?
Yeah, I just switched from Florida to Virginia in 2021.
And how is small business, how is it working out with tax purposes? You have to be in a certain category? Are you on a proprietorship? Are you on a corporation?
Oh. Yeah, I started off as a sole prop, and now I'm a LLC, but I have to move to something else because I'm making too much for an LLC.
It's a cap?
It's just like smarter for you to be able to change into different things that help with tax purposes. That's all.
What about you, Janae? It's difficult for you because you're overseas, right?
Yeah, I am employed, and then I'm a sole proprietor as well.
Facts and figures of minority women in business. Hispanic women labor force participation rate has risen 2% from 2022 to 2023. Black women labor force participation rate has risen 2% from 2022 to 2023. So they both on the same keel, those two minority classes. Approximately 57% of Asian American women are engaged in the current labor force. 57%. Women of color make up 10% of S&P 500 board directors. That's pretty high percentages. 40% of newly created woman-owned business have been started by Black women. Black women are percentage-wise are the highest number of individual to start small businesses. Choosing a business structure can be mind-boggling. How did you come to the decision to choose the business structure that you have in place?
Oh, I had no idea what I was doing. If I'm being honest, I had no idea what I was doing. It just so happens that I was able to build a following on TikTok and social media and Instagram. And from there, I kind of started like my own business and my own brand and my own clothing. But for the longest, I mean, I had no idea what I was doing business-wise. My paperwork looked atrocious. I didn't have a tax person until like the last minute, so I didn't really know what I was doing until he came in and he was like, you kind of need to do all this. So it was just me trying to figure out, how do I do inventory? How do I do my manufacture? I really didn't have any idea how to do that until about a year in. And then I was able to kind of figure out what works for me, which will probably change when I move here and I actually build a team, because things are going to change when you add more people to it anyway. But I found what works for me at least probably about a year in, just from being comfortable and trying to figure out what is working.
What about you, Janae?
Okay, so the first business, like Taylor, I didn't really know what I was doing. I had a passion and a dream, and I had a good idea and just tried to write it out and learned as I went along and incorporated different experiences I had internationally from living in different countries and teaching in different countries. With the second one, I knew a lot more of what I was doing because of my MBA. My MBA is in entrepreneurship and innovation. So I actually learned the background of business and what I needed to do that's more applicable as far as like the financial side, things like this, strategy, and learning the correct terminology for it. Unlike before, I had no idea. I was just kind of going with the flow and trial and error.
So what method did you use to build a market strategy?
When I first started with the first business, I had a mentor that told me never invest your own money, that if it's a good cause, people are going to invest in you. So I did a GoFundMe and I collaborated on different platforms to be able to get the word out and be able to get more outreach for what I needed. And I collaborated with an author in the US as well too. So I did more of that approach. And at the time, social media was not big, so I didn't have that option.
And the Stone Ages.
Instagram was kind of new. You know what, Taylor? Instagram was kind of new. And it wasn't as popular. I mean, we were still using not dial-up, but the plug-in Ethernet connection overseas. So there was no option for the internet as far as like these different platforms, but I used the resources that I could, and I would say mostly from the US to be able to implement it internationally.
What about you, Taylor?
I use social media. I wasn't from the Stone Ages. I use social media and it works for me. I make videos. I make content, mostly videos, honestly. But I also have like, photo carousels and stuff like that. But I was really able to figure out social media and it's been working for me. And that's my main stream of income, actually. I get paid for social media, but I also get paid from Rocky Tay. So it's a win-win.
So
yeah, like now social media too. That's the main source. That's the main way to do it now.
Yeah.
So Taylor, did you have fear of failure?
Do I have fear of failure?
At the time you started your business?
I feel like every entrepreneur does, but you got to ignore that. I mean, when you're sitting here going through stuff and trying to figure out how you're gonna get something to work. I mean, of course, I was a little nervous. I was like, dang, I'm about to start vet school. I only have this amount of money from basketball. And I was like, I'm just going to go all in and see if we can make that work. And of course, I was like a tiny little voice in my head was like, what if it doesn't work out? But the big voice was like, what if it does? And that's really what I've been riding on. That's what I've been doing. And it's been working out.
What about you, Janae? You had the fear of failure? And
no.
Were you timid at all?
Ice cold.
So for me, I always have used any sort of fear, any sort of feeling like this as motivation and as more like energy to achieve what I want to do. I don't have the room for failure. So I don't even let myself think like that. I use it as inspiration and drive to continue with what I need to do.
So how did you challenge the status quo?
Yeah, yes and no. So I didn't only use my way. I have always been able to incorporate the cultural understanding and be able to use that to my advantage and be able to kind of weave my method into theirs, but in a way that they would receive it. So I've never only done my way. I've always been able to adapt it to different cultures as well too. And with my first business, I was definitely on the entrepreneurial high. Like I was not going to fail. There was no way. I rode that high as long as possible.
She's a Gemini. She don't get scared.
So use the basic business format?
Something like this strategy, but not to the T of what you just described, but along the lines, probably mixed up a few of those steps my first time around. But
so you did some things your way?
Some things my way, yes, but not everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not stubborn.
Okay.
Right.
Taylor, how do you challenge the status quo?
Honestly, I think a lot of this first time was me just kind of going with the flow. Especially at the beginning, I was really just trying to figure out how to get stuff going. I know, like on TikTok, on Instagram, I would look up like hashtag small business or hashtag clothing brand, and just see what videos people are making and see if I could learn like how they advertise and what worked and what didn't. And I've been really open to a lot of different people that I meet, a lot of different things that I hear. I'm like a sponge right now, so anything that you can say, I'm gonna do my research and I'm gonna see if that resonates with me and what we can do to kind of move forward and be able to make this business better. I think the main thing is just being open to learning, and that's what I've been doing. I've been really open to learning and seeing how I can expand it by figuring out what works for me, but also even if I feel like it might not work, I'm still open to seeing if it might. So just being open-minded has been a big thing for me to be able to have Merakite succeed.
In your everyday life, your business is not the only thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
So you also have recreational stuff that you do, and you also have the academic part. So how you maintain flexibility and balance in your life?
As far as flexibility, I don't know if I'm fully like that flexible on like changes. Like I feel like I'm mostly like I have my week, I have my Sunday, that's usually like my off day, and I plan what I'm doing all week. Like I plan like I have a test on Tuesday, I got 3 tests on Wednesday plus a meeting, then I got a photo shoot on Thursday. Like it's really like I have a set schedule, so like if you hit me up to hang out that night or something, I can't. Like I got something that's already planned type thing. I think I might be more flexible when I have a little bit less on my plate, or I feel like I got more time to do stuff. But right now I just feel like I'm being hit from a lot of different areas that I just got to stay focused and keep locked in. I do schedule like times. Obviously, like I have a fiance, so we do schedule times like to be able to have a date night and stuff like that, and be able to cultivate those relationships. And if I get a FaceTime randomly from someone that I haven't heard for a minute, I'll take the time out and we'll chat and we'll catch up and stuff like that. But then I might be stressed the rest of the day because I'm behind on lectures.
So the schedule that you create gives you balance?
Yeah. I got a written agenda, and then I got stuff in my school calendar as well.
So what about you, Janae? How do you maintain flexibility and balance throughout your life with your job and your recreational life? And I saw a ring on your finger. I don't know what hand it was on, so I might have to call Bruno and find out what's going on. But how do you balance your life and with the flexibility and the balance?
Many different things, actually. So I practice meditation and yoga, and this keeps me balanced quite well, especially the meditation. So starting my day with that, and throughout the day, taking moments to pause and be aware and present. So that, which helps with my mindfulness and helps keep me humbled and my mindset straight. And then I also do the scheduling like Taylor does, but I'm not super, I guess, strict in the sense that I'm not flexible. I'm definitely flexible. If a friend calls me and is like, hey, let's go for lunch. Yeah, sure. Let's go for lunch. So I'm good with that, balancing things like this. And then, like I said, I'm very strict with what days I'm working so that I have more freedom on other days to be able to cultivate my relationships.
Well, I think it's based upon the schedule that you create with Taylor. She have the richest of academics for the doctoral program and the business.
Yeah, she has to.
Where you have the business and more the family part, and you can have your flexibility different versus her flexibility. But how's your balance?
The balance of work and my private life?
Yes.
Good. It didn't used to be, though.
See, because when you have a small business, you're a woman that start a small business as an entrepreneur, it's important that you get flexibility and balance, especially when you involve your household. And you got household, you got work, you got other activity you want to do to keep your body healthy and going and strong. You got to have your eating habits in place, and you got other things that's going on. So that's why I asked the question about the flexibility and the balance.
So my first business, I was horrible with it. I was absolutely horrible with it. I was a workaholic. I worked around the clock. I think even when Taylor and I met up in Spain, I was still working probably some way, somehow as well. Like I just was working nonstop. Everything in my life revolved around my business, revolved around work and supporting myself and my business and my other job as well too, the lecturing. But I learned through I think, failures in that sense of relationships, not business, but relationships. And that really woke me up to understand that I need to find some sort of balance and to avoid a burnout. I didn't want to burn out.
Yeah.
But so my first business was absolutely horrible, but it was a lesson with this. And I did learn. That's why now I'm super strict with the time frame that I'm actually working and the time throughout the day as well.
So you're stress-free?
I wouldn't say stress-free, but are you ever stress-free as an entrepreneur?
No. But I want to make sure you have flexibility and balance, because I'm still waving that first child from you. All right.
Out of pocket.
And no out of pocket. As a father, you always want your kids to give you grandkids. They always got an excuse on why they're not doing it. I'm waiting on my grandchild.
Out of pocket.
Okay, let's move on. Was the purpose you getting started? Was a purpose? What?
Her body, her choice.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's the sad part, but I have no say in it whatsoever. I can only woof. Did you have an accurate support system when starting a small business? Start with you, Janae.
My first business, no. When I first started it, absolutely not. I had a very different situation, though. I was a minority and a woman from a different culture, starting a business in a foreign country. So I did not have the support that I would have liked and the support that I needed. It took about 6 months in for me to actually find the right connections to get the support that I needed in some ways, not even completely. So for me, the first business, no. The second business, yes, but I would say that came from more of my networking community. So I go to different networking events, and it came from this and from my partnership as well. So I had that balance and grounding support system that I needed.
Good. What about you, Taylor? Did you have an adequate support system when starting a small business?
When I first started, no. There's been like some people here and there, like obviously my family, my parents that have shown up, be able to give advice and stuff like that. But I mean, for the longest, we don't come from money, So like I didn't have any help as far as that, starting my business. And then on top of it, I actually lost a lot of friends in the process, because when you're starting a business and you're starting a clothing line and stuff like that, and really any business, a lot of my friends didn't even really care that I was doing it, didn't really support. And I'm like, support doesn't look like you have to buy something, Support looks like just like the video, like just repost it, like something. Tell me you're proud of me, like something. I mean, I cut off a good amount of friends.
Wow.
For a minute, because I was like, I've been running this thing for 2 years and you haven't even said you're proud of me. Like you're reposting this person and that person. And while I'm like, good, like they should be reposted, they're doing great, but you call yourself like my best friend or like we're family, and I haven't heard anything from you in a minute about this business or anything like that. So I've noticed that a lot of my support came from like my followers, people who liked what I make and stuff like that. And entrepreneurship, it's a lot of strangers that are going to support you. It's not like your crew that you've been hanging out with every day type thing. And that's something that I've noticed, and something that I've also noticed talking to a lot of other entrepreneurs as well. That's kind of like a mainstay thing in this profession.
How important is family to you?
How important is family to me?
Yes.
It's really important, especially, me and Janae had this conversation privately before, we come from a divorced family. So, everything was kind of pieces, I would say. It just took a while to be able to heal as individuals and as a family. And Janae and I, we actually reconnected. God, I mean, we were always connected as sisters, but I mean, we reconnected like a couple years ago in adulthood, really actually like, wow, we're sisters, we're sisterhood, we should act like it type thing. And I was really excited for that, to see that, especially like being young and having that divorce. It was hard to be able to connect with my siblings because they were 6 years older than me, 7 years older than me, 12 years older than me. And I was just always seen as like the baby, or I was too young to hear this, too young to be a part of that. And really being able to grow mentally and emotionally, and finally being included in things and stuff like that makes me feel really close to my family now. And I'm really grateful for that because I've always wanted to be a super family person, and now I have that opportunity to do that.
What about you, Janae?
I mean, it's very important. Absolutely. I think I definitely have a different journey with this, though, unfortunately. It was quite hard in my late teens, 20s as well. And then I went abroad. So I've had that distance for over a decade. So it's a different journey for me. But now with the way the dynamics are, I have healthy relationships with everyone, which is something I really value. It definitely takes stress off of you. Entrepreneurship is already quite difficult in itself. And then to be able to relieve tensions in that direction helps a lot to be able to focus more easily. And yeah, I would say, I mean, it's nice to share what I do with people. I don't really talk about it too much with the family, though, to be honest. I don't think either one of you could really say exactly what I do or what my business name even is.
Well, I can say it now.
It's just, yeah, what can you say?
What you told me earlier.
You're in marketing, bro.
I'm just quite private, but for me, family is very important. Is it a main pillar in my business? I'm going to be honest, no. But neither is my relationship. This has nothing, these are different aspects. This has nothing to do with my business. I'm very strict about that. I have always separated family, partnerships, everything away from business.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be.
You can go into business.
You can relate, communicate your business to your family, but your family's supposed to be family for pleasure and joy. So your family's supposed to be your uplifter. Your uplifter if you're down and things of that nature. But your business world is only way they're gonna know about your business world. You talk about your business world. And sometimes your family gatherings and someone talking about business and no one want to hear it. They walk away. So what motivates you? What keeps you going? What drives you?
Well, I'm going to break this into two things. So what drives me to do what I do is that I genuinely, deeply just love to help people. And I have always been that way. Even when I was a little kid, it's just in me. I love to help people. But I had to find a very safe way to do it where it's not going to hurt me at the same time. So that's something I had to learn, and that's something I have now achieved. So there's that. And then what also drives me is that I would like to have some sort of, I guess we could say legacy, but it's more for future end. Dad, that's not anytime soon, but future end.
See, I be getting these little shots, the hope, then I got to go down again.
Keeping you grounded.
I was about to get the joy in my heart when she said that.
So both my partner and I would like to be able to fully invest our time to whatever that time frame may be, to be deeply involved and retire early as well, and hopefully be able to live off property investments.
What about you, Taylor? What motivates you? What drives you? What keeps you going with the business?
Yeah, I mean, mine is kind of the same as Janae's. You know, I really just like to help people. I love the fact that with what I make and the things that I do really help people feel more comfortable in their skin. And that's something that I really hold on to because just making them feel like they're seen, heard, understood is really important to me. And then on top of that, like even with veterinary medicine, like I want to do shelter medicine, and I want to like own a homeless shelter attached to an animal shelter and be able to kind of intertwine the two and just be able to help as I can. And then like Janae said as well, like just being able to leave a legacy. But my thing is that I want to be able to build generational wealth for my future family, and not have them have to really worry about anything but the fact that you're going to come out here, you're going to work hard, you're going to get your things done. But at the end of the day, like your mom's got you. And that's something that I'm going to value and really bring into the future.
You both mentioned future. Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years, your business, if you had to project out?
You asking me first?
Talking to you, Taylor.
You talking to me? Where do I see myself in 3 to 5 years?
If you had to do your projection for 3 to 5 year projection.
Taking over the world with Rocky Tay. That's
All
what
right,
I see.
Okay.
That's what I see.
Uh-oh. I mean, straight to the point. Okay, Janae, you up.
What do you mean straight to the point?
She went straight to the
Are
point.
you making a subtle thing?
No, she went straight to the point. Yes.
Okay. I thought you went straight to the point. I'm like, oh God, not again.
No. Where do you see yourself 3 to 5 years? You project yourself out your business.
Well, I hope to have my business at a point where I don't have to run it. So that's something I see myself in the next 3 years, where it's not me, where I have other people that are kind of running it for me, and I'm just kind of sitting in the background. So I could see that probably in the next 2 years, definitely. And I'm an entrepreneur to the T. This is not it for me. The last thing, I'm already in the making of starting another business, 2 of them actually. So I see those taking off as well, and probably having 3 businesses at once that I'm not fully running. So.
That's right, because you said you wanted a break. So you don't want to fully run them. You want to run themselves.
I wouldn't say it's a break. It's more of, it will always be where I'm just managing it. I'm in the background, but other people are doing the day-to-day things.
Okay, picture yourself as a forced mentor to a new 19, 20, just a young lady, no age, young lady starting a business and starting to become an entrepreneur. What would you say to her?
There are a lot of things I would say, but if I have to choose like 3 of them, 1, don't stress about the money, but don't invest your own money. Be strategic in the way that you do things, and the money will come. 2, community. Community is everything. Build your support system. Even if you don't have one, build it. Go find it. Your tribe is out there, and they will support you, the right people. And use that community to your advantage. Everyone has a skill set, and typically they will be willing to help you with it. So do that. And 3, don't view when something negative happens as a failure. Use it as motivation to keep going, because it's not failure. It's a learning lesson.
Good point.
And that's bad. That's good. You should always be learning and growing.
That's why I tell young men is to use your past as a motivational to have success in the future. So, valid point. Taylor, what would you tell that young person?
Especially with the day and age with social media and stuff, I guess my thing is be yourself. A lot of people can see through that facade. They can see through you coming up and you just trying to act like somebody you're not. Being yourself and really believing in the stuff that you do and the stuff that you make and what you stand for. People love that. People love authenticity. And that's something that sells itself. If you're trying to make a sale, you're going to come in, you're going to be yourself. And you know what? At the end, maybe you'll mention that you are selling something and maybe they might buy it because they like you as a person. I've noticed that's worked for me a lot. And yeah, really just believing in yourself. And like I said, believing in your product. Also, if you have products and you make something physical, creating something that people need, something that really solves a problem. You know, a lot of people out here for clothing brands, they're just coming out with a t-shirt. You can get a t-shirt anywhere. What are you doing that's going to actually solve problems for people, that's actually going to make people want to buy it, something they've never seen before, types of, like, be innovative. I can sit here and get a heat press.
And how you gather the information to find that out?
You're in tune with what's going on. I mean, I was in tune with my own community and what was needed. I was like, well, I need this. Who else needs it? Hands raised. Okay, now we're making it. Now we're making money with it as well. And just being able to figure out what problems need to be solved through like social media, through your friend group, and being able to capitalize on that. So
you definitely utilize social media as a tool, not surveys and things of that nature.
Nah, if I'm being honest, when I get a survey in my email, it goes immediately to delete.
I think a lot of people does that.
Yeah, like no.
I think survey is the pass.
Yeah, that was
Some
like
people still try to use it.
That was like the pass. That was a pass.
Well, I use surveys.
I think you might want to leave that in the past.
Well, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. As I talked to my girls, my daughters about business. They're very successful. I'm proud of them, both of them. Get my son on here at one point in time. He finished up his degrees in December. Janae, what do you want to say to my audience going off?
I don't know. Thank you for having me, Dad. I don't know. I guess if you're on the entrepreneurial journey, just keep persevering. There's going to be highs and lows. It's definitely going to be a struggle sometimes. There are going to be some storms to weather, but don't give up. The results in the end are worth it. The outcomes are worth it. And honestly, once you get one good business, you're on a high and you just want to keep making more businesses. Prime example of that. So just keep going.
Taylor, what do you want to say to my audience going out?
Man, that part. Thanks for having me. And yeah, just, believe in yourself. And at the end of the day, like, you can do it. I know that's like cliche, but you can do it. And on top of that, like I was saying, you can follow me on Instagram, Tayemery01. Also Meraki Tay, MErakitay _. And you could also follow me on TikTok, Tayemery01. Hit me up. Check out my products. We in here like swimwear.
I guess we're social media right now. What do you want to say to my audience going out, Ms. Ellie?
Shameless plug.
I hope you enjoyed. These are two really amazing women, and I hope you learned a lot. I'm very proud of them too.
Whoop, whoop.
Wow, she didn't even mention me, but that's okay, I'm okay with that.
It's a women's world.
So thank you. I appreciate you. Until we meet again, so long and goodbye.